there. This is, I'm Julie, coming to you. I've decided to do some cooking videos. I don't really have a name or title for myself. Somebody wants to think of something, give suggestions, that is fine. I do have 4 sons, married for 25 years, and I thought, you know what, this is a good legacy for me to leave. You know, I don't, like the boys, they want the guns and they want the knives and the tools and the stuff their dad has, and the one thing they all requested was, you know, they all want my recipes. So it's the one thing they're used to as they grew up and stuff, and so I have some good recipes that the boys absolutely love, a little bit of tips and stuff as I go. So today I am making ham and cheese soup. It does have potatoes in it. It's like delicious, huge hit in our home for, you know, most of their lives growing up anyhow. So in my, I just do it in this great big pot here, as you can see. It's pretty big. In here right now I have diced onions and my butter or margarine, it's up to you. I did use margarine this time. So I have 6 tablespoons of margarine in there and 3 cups of chopped onion. Now, I guess my suggestion now would be, I do usually I don't measure the onions. I've done it so often, I just usually do 3 medium-sized onions, diced. Or, if you do have super, super fussier kids, or even husband, spouse, significant other, whatever, you could grate them. So like just take like a normal like cheese grater, you know, and grate them. Even these, like you'll see by the time the soup is done, you literally will not even see an onion. You won't see it, there's no texture to it, it's like super soft, right? And so same with this, right? If you do choose to grate the onion, like it'll disintegrate into nothing. There'll be nothing, you know, but it does give the soup really, really good flavor. So I've had this on the element now for probably about 10 minutes, just kind of melting the margarine and cooking the onions a little bit. Now to this I'm going to add, I have 6 tablespoons of flour, 3 tablespoons of dill weed. Another suggestion, I don't know if you guys have ever bought this kind of stuff before, but it's made by Lighthouse and it's literally freeze dried, and it is like so, the scent is like so heavenly, and the taste when you're done making it. And then I have a teaspoon of pepper. So you're just going to add that in, dump it in, continue to stir it. Once you stir for even like a minute, you're supposed to stir it for about a minute, right? But you'll see as soon as you stir it, it kind of like solidifies. That's what it's supposed to do. Let's see if I can kind of lift this up and give you a better view here. See, it's supposed to do that. That's a good thing. You kind of want it to all kind of just clump together, and you know. At this point, I just kind of continuously stir, just so nothing sticks to the bottom or anything. And then after about, like a minute here, and I'm like, I will post the actual recipe so you have it, but once it's kind of like solidified a little bit like that, then I go ahead and add 2 cartons of chicken stock, chicken broth. It can be, like this one happens to be like the 30% less sodium. So if you have someone in your home that maybe shouldn't be having a lot of salt, and there is ham in this already, so if you find that it's just going to be a little bit too much salt, then you can definitely buy the lower. I kind of buy whatever's on sale and whatever happens to be there. And sometimes depends what I'm making. So yeah, for something like this, it is good to have a little less salt in it. So now I'm going to like turn up my heat a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and bring that to a boil. I kind of have everything else kind of prepped and ready to go. So I have to wait till this comes to a boil. And then, like on the recipe, it does say 12 cups of potatoes. I know it seems like a lot, and I would definitely so in our home of 6, this was enough for like a meal, and then the next day leftovers, and even still a little bit left over for husband to take to work, or kids for lunch, lunches or whatever. So it makes a lot. So you maybe want to cut it in half if there's only like the two of you or something. I'm actually making this for my sons. So I went ahead and diced up all my potatoes here. I'll like give you a little boo at that. They're just in little, in little cubes is fine. I kind of try to do everything like ahead of time, so that when it comes to this, I can literally just start like dumping things in and not making it, so long. So I will come back closer to the end of the recipe. So once this boils, I have the potatoes sitting in cold water. I will drain the water off of the potatoes and then put the potatoes in. Now, obviously, this liquid is going to be boiling. So when you put your potatoes in, you're going to want to come like nice and close to the edge so it's not splashing and getting all over you. Been there, done that. It's not very fun. Yes, and then you let it boil, like a nice low boil, for probably about, oh boy, I would say 20 minutes for sure. So your potatoes are nice, and you don't want them falling apart. Like that's too much. So yeah, about 20 minutes is usually about perfect. And I usually stir it about every 3 minutes, because you do want it to be on that low, slow boil. But if you leave it for too long, they're literally just going to like start sticking to the bottom, and you don't want that either. So, so that's about it for now. I think I'm going to let you go. So then you're going to drain the water off the potatoes, put them in, give it another 20 minutes, bring it to a boil, turn it down, then for another 20 minutes, and just leave it on a nice slow boil, stir it often, and then we'll carry on with the rest when I come back. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, I am back. I let my liquids, potatoes, come to a boil, then turned it just to a simmer, stirred it every now and then kind of like a good way to check. I'll show you. I just put the potatoes on my ladle here. They're very hot. You just take your fork, poke it in. Like it almost, crumbles when I do it, but not quite. It still has, so they're definitely cooked. You don't want to cook them any longer than that, because you don't want mashed potatoes, right? So after this, we add our cheddar cheese. Now, the recipe calls for 6 cups cheddar cheese. I do an entire big block. Is it 700 or 900 grams? I'm not sure. I can look in the garbage. My package is in the garbage. But I put in the entire block of cheese. It gives it really, really good flavor. Also, the amount of potatoes that I do, I've kind of learned over the years, like, the ratio and stuff, but I do it so that when I have my chicken broth in there, and the onions and stuff, I do it so I almost couldn't put even one more potato in there. Like, it's the liquid broth just covers the potatoes. Now, you don't have to do that many potatoes. I do, because my husband doesn't like super just runny soups. He's kind of like, if he's going to eat a meal, he likes it to be like a meal and kind of hearty, and so I kind of try to maximize on the thickness of it. So I love these little trays that I have too. They're great for like even cutting stuff on, or like when we have like ham or turkey, we can just put it on this tray and slice it up, and yeah, they're like fantastic. My mom gave me quite a few of them. So put your cheese in there, and literally even like as I'm stirring it in that little time, it's 100% melted. So, okay, after that, now we have our ham. Now, you really can do whatever ham you want, like whether it's processed or whatever. My husband and I, we really like the ham with the bone in it. We find it has a whole lot more flavor, and it's like, it's real ham. Like it's the real deal, right? So I always make ham and turkey for Thanksgivings, Easters, Christmas, you know, any kind of like special occasion. Even May long weekend, we were out camping. We did like the deep fried turkey or whatever. That was delicious. So then whenever I'm done with the ham and we've had our fill of sandwiches and whatever, I take it all off the bone and then I put it in the freezer. Like I do it all ahead of time. I take it off the bone, I cut it into little like pieces, little shreds, like nothing too specific, you know. But that is, to me, that's not enough meat for the amount of soup that I have. So then what I went ahead and did is I found in the freezer some bacon that I had, and I hadn't cooked it yet. So how I do my bacon is in the oven. It's like got to be a total godsend. So I put the bacon on a tray and on these racks here. I lay all my bacon on there. You don't have to flip it. You don't have to anything. I put it on at 400, and depending if it's thin, like I think the least amount I've ever had bacon in there was like 12 or 14 minutes. That's for pretty thin bacon. This stuff was a bit thicker. This is the, you know, this stuff was pretty thick. It's just kind of what I happen to have, right? So I did this, I think it ended up being a total of 20 minutes, 18, 20 minutes, something like that. As soon as I pulled it out and I knew it was crispy enough to what I wanted, I didn't want it to be soft and chewy at all. We're not big, soft, chewy bacon people. I put it on a paper towel right away to try to absorb a lot of the grease. Once it cooled down, I have like just kitchen shears, kitchen scissors, and I just like snipped up all the bacon into little chunks like this. It'll just give it a little more flavor and kind of like I said, make it a little more hearty. Have a little bit more meat in there. Now, the recipe also calls for 3 cups of milk. Now, this is to the point now where I'm at is my husband does not like really runny, you know, and neither do my boys really. Like this is how they prefer it. So I'm just going to grab a little bowl. So this is sometimes I have to add the milk. I guess it depends the thickness or the consistency of it. But sometimes I find that, yeah, by the time I now like, you know, add in the cheese, which kind of like thins it out a little bit more. I don't add any more, you know, I'll kind of show you the consistency of it right now. And it will, once it cools and goes in your fridge, it will thicken up a little bit more. But, you know, that's the consistency. It smells so heavenly. It smells so delicious. And really, once you add everything in now, I mean, all you got to do is just heat it up, right? Like it's not, I mean, the ham was cooked already, the bacon was cooked already, so all you're doing is heating it up, right? We like to eat this soup with a bun. You dip your bun, you know, in a little bit of the liquid and stuff like that. My boys do. I don't myself. It's just it takes up too much space in my tummy and I can't eat as much. But it's very hot, so I won't be able to try it right now. But yeah, it's got like the bacon crumbles and the ham in there. It is delicious. My sons are going to love it. So I'm going to actually shut the element off now. Now, if I was cooking this, I would cook it closer to supper, you know, and then I would just put it on my rear element and simmer and just leave it on nice and low and just kind of keep it warm till we ate. But I'm sending this home with my boys, so I do want it to cool down all the way, and then just put it like I'm going to put mine in like an ice cream pail and then send it home with them, and then they got food for like days. They can share it with their roommates if they want. That's up to them. So yeah, this is it. This is the finished and done ham and potato soup. So I just want to say to whoever watched this, I guess, thank you. If you have any hints or any suggestions, I'm totally open to that. I kind of like feedback, and so if I get any feedback, I don't even know. I literally might be doing this for my 4 sons, and that's it. I have no idea. So we will just see. I do want to throw in there, I am a faith, Bible, God-believing person. So I just want to add a little bit of a note of like, when things get hard, when things get tough, everybody has those moments, those days, sometimes even months, like you can be in a really bad rut just in life in general. I'm just going to encourage you to pray and to ask God for help. Some people think, you know, their problems are so significant, like why would God care? Why would he even like take time to even hear your prayers? But I just want to let you know he does. The Bible says that God will grant you the desires of your heart. So I guess what you need to do is, you know, figure out what that desire is, and just pray, and God will hear you. And sometimes it's not in our timing; it's in His timing. But in my years, I have seen many miracles come to fruition, and you know, many blessings have fallen. So I'm just going to encourage you with that, and I love you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.